How many of us know that God is a compassionate God?
कितली जाणां आमी जाणा काय की देव आमचो कृपेवंत देव जावन आसा, काकुतेचो देव जावन आसा.
Look to somebody around you and say, God is a God of compassion.
जे कुशीक कोणाकूय पळोवन म्हण देव आमचो काकूत करपी देव.
When we talk about breakthrough,
जेन्ना आमी विस्मिता विशीं उलयता,
when we talk about how we will see ourselves set free,
जेन्ना आमी चिंत्ता की कशी आमकां काय सुटका मेवता ती पळयतले आमी,
the first thing that should come into our hearts is to realize that God is a compassionate God.
पयली वस्त ती आमच्या काळजान येवंक जाय आनी आमी जाणा जावन घेवंक जाय की देव आमचो काकुतेचो देव.
That means God does not delight to see you and me suffering.
म्हणजे देवाची खुशी न्हय की तो पळोवंक सोदना आमकां की आमी सोंसता आनी कोश्टान वयता ती.
Now many a times we have this mindset that somebody has told us, or somebody has preached it to us, or somebody has given you a message that no, you have to suffer.
केन्ना केन्ना जायत कोणें आमकां सांगलेलें आसा, कोणें अशें प्रचार केल्लो आसा, आमच्या मतीन केन्ना केन्ना अशें आसता की हय हांवें सोसूंक जाय, हांवें त्रास काडूंक जाय, त्रास भोगूंक जाय.
Yeah, it's like I have to suffer because I need to go to heaven.
हांवें स्वर्गार वचूंक जाय म्हणून हांवें त्रास भोगूंकूच जाय.
But no,
पूण ना,
Scripture doesn't speak about we suffering to go to heaven.
देवाचें उतर अशें आमकां सांगना की आमी कोश्टांसान पासांक जावंक जाय, त्रासांसान पासार जावंक जाय स्वर्गार वयपाक.
God's word speaks about believing in Jesus and going to heaven.
देवाचें उतर आमकां अशें सांगता की आमी जेजूचेर सोत मानूंक जाय आनी मागीर आमी स्वर्गार वयतली न्ही.
So one of the characteristics of God is that he is a compassionate God.
तर एक चरित्र जावन आसा देवाचो की तो दयाचो देव,
He
काकुतीचो देव.
moves with compassion.
तेका आमची काकूत दिसता.
When he sees your story or when he sees your life,
जेन्ना तो तुजें जिवीत पळयता,
he's moved in his heart to move into your life.
तेका तेच्या काळजांसान लायता की तुज्या जिवितान काम करपाक.
So we will be speaking on few things, few aspects on what moves God's, what stirs up the compassion of God to begin a work in your life.
तर आयज आमी थोडे मुद्दे पळोवया की कितें काय देवाक लायता, कितें काय देवाक किडोयता की तुज्या जिवितान काम करपाक काकुतेन.
When we open to Mark chapter 6 verse 34,
म्हाका शुभ वर्तमानान गेल्या 26 वरान 3 आनी 4 वळीन.
आनी ओड्यांतलो भायर सरतना जेजून एक व्हडली उरपोंच देखली आनी गवळी नासलोल्या शेळया परी आसली. देखून काळजान थावन तांच्यान ताका चुरचुरे दिसले आनी सोबार वस्तू तो तांकां शिकोवंक लागलो.
okay, now it says Jesus saw a great crowd
अशें म्हटलेलें आसा की जेजून वर्त जावन पळयलो
and he was moved with compassion.
आनी तेका तेंचे चुचुरे दिसले.
What made him move with compassion?
कितें काय लायलें तेका ते काकुतेन
Because
काम करपाक.
the people were like sheep without a shepherd.
कित्याक ते लोक असलेले शेळे सारखे गवळी नासलेल्या.
A sheep
शेळीक पळोवंक गेल्यार
that does not have a shepherd
जिंका गवळी ना,
is a sheep that's life is messed up.
तेंचे जिवीत पळोवंक गेल्यार सारखे उचांबळ जाले, कफुसावन आसलेले.
Same way yours and my life,
तशीच भाशेन तुजें आनी म्हजें
when we
जिवीत,
do not have our shepherd, that's Jesus has a part of our life,
जेन्ना आमचो गवळी जो जेजू क्रिस्त जावन आसा तो आमच्या जिविताचो भाग आसना,
our life will be in a mess.
आमचें जिवीत सारकें कफुसावन आसतलें.
See what happens to sheep.
पळय कितें शेळ्यांक जाता तें
A few of the
सांगता.
things that we need to understand about sheep.
थोड्यो वस्ती ज्यो आमी समजून घेवंक जाय शेळ्या विशीं.
You see, sheep will never, sheep will always be in fear,
शेळी आसा तिंका सदांच अशी भिरांत आसता
and they will never lie down
आनी केन्नाच अशी आड पडची ना
if their shepherd is not there around them.
जर तर तेंचो गवळी ना जाल्यार
That
सोरभोंवतणी.
means if they are not at peace, they will never lie down.
म्हणजे ते तर शांतीन ना जाल्यार ते आड पडची ना.
What brings peace to the sheep
कितें शेळ्यांक शांती काय हाडटा?
is the presence of the shepherd.
तो गवळी जेन्ना तेंच्या सांगात आसता.
Now when Jesus is speaking and saying they are sheep without shepherd,
जेन्ना जेजू तेंकां लोकांक पळोवन असो म्हणटा की ती जावन आसा शेळी तेंचे गवळे शिवाय,
that means he can see people living in fear.
म्हटल्यार तेका दिश्टी पडटा की लोक भिरांतेंची येता ते.
When Jesus is, right now I believe when Jesus stands and looks upon some of you,
याच वेळी जेन्ना जेजू आमकां थोड्या जाणांक पळयता,
I believe he's moved with compassion because he can see people with without a shepherd.
हांव सोद म्हणटा की तेका तुजी दोळ्या दिसता तेका तुजी काकूट दिसता कित्याक तेका दिश्टी पडटा की तूं शेळी जावन आसा तुजे गोळ शिवाय.
Because there are some of us here in this place who are living in fears.
कित्याक थोडी जाणां आमच्या मदेकात लोक आसा जे भिरांतेंची येता.
Fears of tomorrow.
फाल्यांचे भिरांतेन.
Fears of health.
भलायकेचे भिरांतेन.
Fears of the future.
फुडाराचे भिरांतेन.
Fears of family.
घरब्याचे भिरांतेन.
Fears of marriage.
काजराचे भिरांतेन.
Fears of finances.
पैशाच्या बाबतीचे भिरांतेन.
Fears of the dark.
कावकाचे भिरांतेन.
Fears of work.
कामाचे भिरांतेन.
So many kinds of fears that we are living in.
वेगवेगळी तरेचे भिरांतेन आमची येता.
So when Jesus says they are sheep without a shepherd, what he's saying is they are people living in fear.
तो जेने जेजू म्हणटा की ती जावन शेळी तिंचे गोळ शेळी जेजू म्हणटा की ते लोक जावन भिरांतेंची येवपी.
Another thing about sheep.
आनी एक वस्त पळोवंक गेले शेळ्या विशीं.
You see, a sheep
एक शेळीक पळोवंक
will
गेल्या
never be at rest
केन्नाच विसवण आसची ना
if it has got parasites or insects or flies that are eating into its body.
किमचा आसा तो नाजाल्यार कसले इन्सेक्ट आसा तो तेचे कुडीन जाल्यार.
So what does the shepherd do is
तूं कितें कोता
he takes oil or ointment
तेल घेता
and he rubs it on the sheep.
आनी अशी झोरयता तेच्या
And in the process
शेळ्याक आनी त्या वाटे पळोवंक गेल्यार
helps it to get rid of all those flies.
ते शेळ्याक आधार मेळता नाजाल्यार शेळ्याक जाता ती सगळी जी किमचा आसली ती भायर सरता.
So what Jesus is saying is
तो जेजू असो
the
म्हणटा
shepherd is a caregiver for the sheep.
तो गवळीचो जावन आसा गवळी आसा तो शेळ्यांक आदार दिवपी नाजाल्यार केअर करपी.
He cares for the sheep.
तो पोसता तेंकां
When
अपुरबाय करता.
the sheep is going through inconvenience or any kind of a problem, the shepherd cares for the sheep.
जेन्ना शेळी खंयच्याय त्रासांसान पास जाता नाजाल्यार कसल्या विशयासान पास जाता तेन्ना जो गवळी आसा तो आदार दिता तेका.
So when Jesus looks at the people and says they are sheep without shepherd, what he's saying is they have the people around me, they are in crisis, they are in problems and nobody is there to care for them.
तर जेन्ना जेजू म्हणटा की ती जावन आसा शेळी गवळ्याच्या शिवाय म्हणजे जेजू असो म्हणटा की तेंकां कोण आपुरबाय करपी ना कोण तेंची कोण केअर घेवपी ना त्या खातीर तसले लोक जावन आसा ते.
Another thing about sheep,
आनी एक वस्त पळोवंक गेले शेळ्या विशीं
when there's conflict, sometimes in the sheep itself there are problems happening.
केन्ना
The
केन्ना
sheep pen.
शेळ्या मध्ये कातूच पळोवंक गेले फुसा जाता नाजाल्यार दुस्फोट जाता.
There's infighting among them.
झगडी जाता नाजाल्यार
There's
दुस्फोट
somebody
जाता.
who's trying to show, see, I'm stronger than you, I'm better than you.
कोणी असो दाखोवंक सोदता हांव तुज्याकून बरो आनी तुज्याकून बरो बळिश्ट म्हणून.
But when the shepherd is there,
पूण जेन्ना गवळी आसता जाणा
everybody is quiet.
सगळीं जाणां ओग्गी आसता.
Nobody will want to show who's stronger.
कोणूच दाखोवंक सोदचे ना आपूण बरो म्हणून.
Because they know that the shepherd is stronger than them all.
कित्याक ते जाणा की तेंचो गवळी आसा तो सगळ्याच्याकून बळिश्ट म्हणून.
That means the shepherd brings calm among the sheep.
म्हणल्यार गवळी जो आसा तो शांतता हाडटा तेंच्या मध्ये
He
काय.
brings calm and peace among the sheep.
शांतिका आनी शांतता हाडटा तेंच्या
So
मध्ये
when
काय.
Jesus is saying they are sheep without shepherd,
तो-
that means their life is in confusion.
तो जेन्ना जेजू म्हणटा की ते जावन आसा गवळी नासलेली शेळी म्हणल्यार तेंचे जीवित कोफुसावन आसा अशें जेजू
They are
सांगूंक सोदता.
confused people.
ते सारखे कोफुसावन
They
पडलेले लोक
don't know
जावन
what
आसा.
to do.
ते नको कितें
They are
करपाचें
fighting among
ते तेंच्या मध्ये
themselves.
कातूच झगडटा.
But he says, I bring peace.
पूण तो म्हणटा हांव शांतिका हाडटा.
Now, when we look into our life, would we say that we are people who are in need of a shepherd?
आमी जेन्ना आमच्या जिविताक पळयता आमी अशी म्हणटली काय की आमकांय गवळ्याची गरज आसा म्हणून.
Do you feel that you are living in fears?
तुका दिसता की तूं भिरांतेन जियेता म्हणून.
When you go to UK,
जेन्ना युकेन वचत जाल्यार
there are some people there who don't want to get out from that area that they are living.
थोडे लोक भायरूच सरोंक सोदिना जे जाग्यार ते रावता तेंच्या.
They just go to work
ते कामाक वयता
and come back home.
आनी परते घरा
Go to
येता.
work
कामाक वयता
and come back home.
परते घरा
For the
येता.
last 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they are going to work and come back home. Work and come back home. Work and come back home.
1 वर्ष 2 वर्ष 3 वर्ष ते हेच करीत आसा. ते कामाक वयता परते घरा येता. कामाक वयता परते घरा येता. कामाक वयता परते घरा येता.
They are scared.
ते भिरांतेन आसा.
आणि हुंचर वचपाक. They are scared maybe a bomb may blast
ते
somewhere.
भियेता हुंय बॉम्ब जाय ब्लास्ट जायत म्हणून.
They are
ते
scared
भियेता.
to live among those other white people.
ते दुसरे जे गोरे लोक आसा तेंच्या मध्ये
They are scared
ते भियेता.
of certain areas that are dominated by the black people.
अमके जाग्यांचे जे काळे लोक जे
There
रावता.
are different types of fears.
वेगवेगळी तरेची भिरांत आसा.
But praise be to God, when we know who our shepherd is, we can walk with boldness.
पूण देवा कारगा की जेन्ना आमी आमच्या गोळ्याक ओकोता तेन्ना आमी धिरान गोटायन चलोंक
When we know
शकता
who our shepherd is, we can walk with boldness, knowing that our future is great.
जेन्ना आमी आमच्या गोळ्याक ओकोता तेन्ना आमी घोटायन चलोंक शकता जाणा जावन कोण की आमचो फुडार
Some of
बरतो
them are
आसा
scared that they may not get a job tomorrow.
थोडी जाणां भियेल्ले आसता की फाल्यां तांकां काम मेळना जायत
You see,
म्हणून
some of them who are gone to UK, they get calls every day. Okay, today you can come to work, or maybe tomorrow you can work, depending on their call. So I believe they must be just waiting and looking at the phone when my phone is going to ring.
थोडे जाण जे युकेन आसता तांकां अशे फोन येता आयज येवंक जाता तेन्ना फाल्यां येवंक जाता ते जाय तुका थोडे जाण रावलेले आसता केन्ना काय फोन येतलो आनी आपल्या कामाक आपयतले
The fear of what's going to happen tomorrow.
भिरांतीन आसता ती फाल्यां कितें जायत काय
Maybe there's
म्हणून
some of us here who are living in the fear of tomorrow.
थोडी जाणां जायत गो आमच्या मदें काय जे फाल्यांचे भिरांतीन
Some
जी
of us
येता
here may be living in the fear of your family.
थोडी जाण जायत गो तुमच्या घराब्याचे भिरांतीन जी येता
You see, some of us living in fear of our own husbands or wives.
थोडी जाणां घोवाची ना बायलेची पासून भिरांतीन जी येता
The fear.
भिरांतीन जी येता
When we know our shepherd,
जेन्ना आमी आमच्या गोळ्याक ओकोता
we have nothing to be afraid.
आमकां कित्याकूच भियेवपाची
And
गरज ना
that's why in Psalm 23 says, I shall fear no evil.
त्या
You know?
स्तोत्र 23 अशें म्हणटा दावीद की हांव कसल्याच वायटाक भियेची ना
Because you are with me.
कित्याक तूं म्हज्या सांगात
When we
आसा
know who our shepherd is, fear cannot rule us.
जेन्ना आमी आमच्या गोळ्याक ओकोता तेन्ना भिरांत आमचेर राज करूंक शकना
So when Jesus sees people's lives in fears,
तर जेन्ना जेजू पळयता तेंचे जिवीत भिरांतेन
when
आसलेले
he
ते
sees people's lives, their own body destroying them, or their environment destroying them, or confusion ruling them,
जेन्ना तेणें पळयलें की तेंची आपलीच कूड तेंकां नश्ट कोता आनी सोरभोंवतणचें वातावरण तेंकां नश्ट कोता ना कोफुसावन ते पडलेले आसा
when he sees that there is so much of fighting and confusion,
जेन्ना तो पळयता की इतली झूज इतली झगडी इतले दुस्पोट आसा तो
he's moved with compassion.
तेका तेंची काकूट दिसता
Another thing about sheep, they will never be at peace or at rest is when they are hungry.
आनी एक वस्त पळोवंक शेळ्या विशीं ती केन्ना शांती काय नासतना जर तर ते भुकेलेले आसा भुकेन आसा जाल्यार
When you're hungry,
जेन्ना भुकेन आसता भूक लागलेली आसता
I had a friend that said, when I'm hungry, I get angry.
म्हजो एक इश्ट आसलो तो असो म्हणटालो की जेन्ना म्हाका भूक लागता म्हाका राग येता
He says, when I'm hungry, I'm angry.
जेन्ना म्हाका भूक लागता तेन्ना म्हाका राग येता
You see, sheep don't rest when they are hungry.
शेळी विसोग येना जर तर तिंका भूक लागलेली
Now,
आसा जाल्यार
hunger in this world is not only hungry for food.
आतां भूक म्हटल्यार संवसारान फक्त पोटाक लागता तीच भूक न्हय
Some of us are hungry for a good word.
केन्ना केन्ना बऱ्या उतराक आमी भुकेलेली
Some of us
आसता
are hungry for appreciation.
थोडी जाण शाबासकी पासत भुकेलेली आसता
Some of us are hungry for love.
थोडी जाण मोगा पासत भुकेलेली आसता
Some of us are hungry to have a good life.
थोडी जाण बरी जिवीत जिवपाक भुकेलेली
Different
आसता
forms of hunger.
वेगवेगळी तरेची भूक आसता
And when Jesus sees us hungry,
आनी जेन्ना जेजू आमकां पळयता आमी भुकेलेली
sees
आसता
us
ती
empty on the
जेन्ना
inside,
तो पळयता आमी भितरसान रिती आसता
he's
ती
moved with compassion.
तेका आमची काकूट दिसोंक लागता
And you know what does Jesus do?
आनी तुमी जाण जेजू कितें
When
करता
he
तो
sees them and that they are sheep without shepherd, you know what does he do?
जेन्ना तो पळयता की ती शेळी जावन आसा गोळे शेळी तो कितें करता जाणा
To meet their need,
तेंची गरज फाव करपाक
first thing he does is he begins to teach them.
पयली वस्त करता तो तिंकां शिकोवंक लागता
Many a times we come for meetings and we say, "Are hath dor ani kabar kor." But the first thing Jesus does is he begins to teach.
पयली वस्त जेजू करता तो तेंकां शिकोवंक लागता
He begins to teach them.
तो शिकोवंक लागता
That
तेंकां
means he begins to let his word encourage you,
म्हणल्यार तो ते
strengthen you, build you.
तो तेजे उतराक तेंकां उर्बेवन करूंक दिता वाडोवंक दिता
He doesn't just say, "Okay, come, you want your miracle, take your miracle and go," because he knows when tomorrow again you will be in need, again you will come like a beggar.
तो असो म्हणून की यो चल तुका तुजी गरज आसा आनी फाव करून दिता कित्याक तो जाणा फाल्यां तुका परती गरज येतलो आनी तूं परतो येतलो भिकारे कसो
But
पूण
he wants you to realize that you can stand strong in him and grow in him.
तेका जाय तूं जाणा जालो की तूं बळीश रावंक शकता तेच्या भितर आनी वाडोवंकूय शकता तेच्या भितर
And that's what he does. He says, when you go back to that scripture, he says, and he began to teach them many things.
आनी तो मागीर तेंकां शिकोवंक लागलो जायत्यो वस्ती
So he began to teach.
तो शिकोवंक लागलो
So one
तेंकां
of the things that he will do in our lives to get us out from our situation is teach you his word.
तर एक वस्त तो करतलो तुका तुजे परिस्थितींतले भायर काडपाक ते जावन आसा तो तुका आपले उत्तर शिकोवंक
You see,
लागतलो
I have met many people who've been watching our programs for the last 3 years or 4 years now.
हांव जायत्या लोकांक मेळ्ळो आसा जे आतां आमचे प्रोग्राम पळयता आसले 3 वर्सां जाले ना जाल्यार 4 वर्सां
Some
जाली.
of them have not come for our meetings.
थोडे जाण जाय मिटिंगेक पासून
But
येवंक
sometimes I
नासले
meet them on the streets
पूण केन्ना केन्ना वाटेर मेवता तेन्ना
and they meet me and they say, I've been watching your program.
ते अशें म्हणटा म्हाका तूं जाण तुजो प्रोग्राम पळयता हांव
And as I've been hearing the word preached,
आनी जशें हांव आयकता तुजें उतर तूं प्रचार करता तो
I'm seeing my life change.
हांवें पयलें आसा म्हजें जिवीत बदललां
I'm
तें
seeing my family change.
म्हजो घराबो बदललेलो आसा
I'm seeing
तो
how God has become real to
कसो
us.
देव खरो जालो आसा तो म्हाज्या पासत
The word is powerful.
देवाचें उतर पदवेचें
So
जावन
when
आसा
God is moved with compassion,
तो जेन्ना देवाक आमची काकूट दिसोंक
He
लागता
will begin to speak His word into our lives.
तो आपलें उत्तर उलयता आमच्या
He will
जिविताचेर
begin to speak His word to encourage you and strengthen you.
तो आपलें उत्तर उलयता तुका उर्बेवन करपाक आनी भश्ट करपाक
The next thing He did,
फुडली वस्त जी तेणें केली
He began to work the miracle.
तो मिलाग्र करूंक लागलो
You see, He was moved with compassion. When you open to Matthew chapter 15,
मॅथ्यू शुभवर्तमान 15व्या वेसवरान गेल्यार
chapter 15 verse 32.
32 वयन
पूण जेजून आपल्या शिसांक लागीं आपोवन म्हणलें, ह्या लोकांक पळोवन चुरचुऱ्यांनी फोडटा काळीज म्हजें. 3 दीस जाले ती म्हजे बरोबर आसात आनी जेवंक खावंक तांचे कडेन कांयच ना. उपाशी तांकां धाडूंक म्हाका खोशी ना.
Okay, he says, I have compassion on the crowd because they have been with me now 3 days.
म्हाका तेंची चुचऱ्यो दिसता कित्याक ते म्हाजे सांगता 3 दीस आसा म्हणून
You see, he was moved with compassion.
तेका तेंची चुचरी काकूट दिसली
His compassion moved him to teach them.
आनी तेजी काकुतेन तेका लायले शिकोवपाक तेंकां
And the next thing that his compassion moved him to not send them away empty.
आनी फुडली वस्त आमी पळयता की तेजी काकुतेन तेका लायले तेंकां रिते पडना नाजाल्यार भुकेलेले धाडना जावपाक
You see, they were in need.
ते गरजे नासलेले
What was their need?
कितें गरज आसलेली तेंची
They were 3 days with Jesus
शेगी 3 दीस जे सांगत आसले ते
and they had nothing to eat.
आनी कांयच नासलेलें तेंकां खावपाक
3 days
3 दीस
continuously with Jesus
शेगीत जेजू
and
सांगता
nothing to eat.
आनी कांयच नासलें
So
खावपाक
Jesus says, I'm not going to send them empty.
तो जेजू म्हणटा म्हाजी खुशी न्हय तेंकां रिते पडन
I'm
धाडपाची
not going to send them hungry.
म्हाजी खुशी न्हय की तेंकां भुकेलेले धाडपाक
You know, how many of us cannot bear hunger?
कितले जाणां कडेन आमच्यान बूक सोसूंक जायना
भितरल्यानसान रडपाक लागल्यार आवयस बंद करूंक जायना. Till you find one place to, I have known people so desperately hungry, 2 in the morning also they have gone out and eaten.
असले लोकांक हांवें पळयल्लें आसा ते सारके इतके डेस्परेट जाता ते सकाळचे 2 पासून वचून फातोडेक वचून हाडलेले आसा तेणी सोदून
Some of them, like their tongue said, I want ice cream now. At 2 in the morning they have gone and had ice cream.
थोडे जाणां अशें तेंकां इतकी रुचयली आसा आयस्क्रीमीची सकाळचे 2 वचून सोदून आयस्क्रीम हाडलेली आसा तेणी
Hunger.
भूक
Hunger. And here Jesus is saying, I am unwilling
देव जेजू हांगासर असो म्हणटा की म्हाजी खुशी न्हय
to send them away hungry.
तेंकां भुकेलेले धाडपाक
Why was he unwilling?
कित्याक तेजी खुशी नासलेली
Why was he saying, no, I'm not going to send them away
कित्याक तेणें
empty?
अशें म्हटलें की हांव तेंकां धाडचेंच ना भुकेलेले
You see, there were 3 days with Jesus.
3 दीस जे सांगता आसले ते
That means
हाचो अर्थ
the first day
पयलो दीस
when they, suppose they had got tiffin.
जर तर तिणें टिफीन हाडलेलें जाल्यार
First day it will definitely get over.
पयले दीस काबार जातलेंच
Okay? So second day,
तर दुसरो दीस
they are with Jesus.
ते जेजू सांगता आसा
By evening, morning you can fast. Little, no breakfast, morning fine. Afternoon, okay, no lunch, fine. Evening comes, you have to break your fast, right?
सकाळचे तर नासतो ना ओके जाता मागीर दनपारचें जेवण ना जाल्यारूय जाता पूण सांजचें म्हटल्यार जायच
How many of us know what it is to fast in
कितले
the
जाण आमी
morning?
जाण
And
उपास
then
धरप
afternoon,
कितें
and then
आसता तो?
moment it's coming to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Okay, 6 o'clock I have to break my fast. 5:45 only I'm in the kitchen getting everything ready. Okay, it is 6, start eating.
सोंग तर उपास मोडूंक जाय जाल्यार 5:45 आमी कितें कुजनान वयता आनी सगळें तयार करता सो जातकच आमी खावंक लागता
Some of us go even 1 hour before and start getting ready.
जाण आमी 1 वरा आदींच वचून तयार रावता
So second day, these people have not eaten now.
तो दुसरे दीस अजून लोकांनी काय खावंक ना
I'm sure
हांव खात्रेन जाणा
if some of us were there,
थोडी जाण आमच्या मदें
we
कशी
would
तर
have said,
आसली
जेजू हिंगासरूच चड करून इन्नेच भोंवता न्हू. ओके, हांव मातसो बाजारान वचोन येता, काटलीश पाव खाता आनी येता. Or some of us will say, no, meeting will get over by 2 o'clock. No, म्हाका भूक लागले. मातशें सगळं वचून कितें हिंगा रॉयल फूड्स आहा न्हू, पॅटीस मेवता जाल्यार पळयता करता आनी येता. The people could have done that.
लोकांनी तशें करूंक जातालें.
They could have taken a break and said, Jesus, we are coming, I'm coming.
तिने
Okay,
विसो
I'll
घेवन
just go and come.
म्हणून ब्रेक घेवन म्हणून जाताला जेजू येता हांव मातसो वचोन येता.
But second day, they still waited with
पूण
Jesus.
दुसरे दिसरे रावले जेजू सांग आतां.
Now third day,
तिसरो दीस येयलो.
third day,
तिसरो
they're
दीस
still stuck on with Jesus.
तरी ते जेजूक चिटकून आसा.
They have not gone back.
वचोंक ना ते परते.
They have not gone home.
वचोंक ना घरा.
They have not taken a break.
ते ब्रेक पासून घेवंक ना
They have
तेमी.
not gone to the restaurant and had a meal.
ते वचोंक ना रेस्टॉरंटान जेवंक ना.
They're still stuck on with Jesus.
जेजूकूच चिटकून आसा ते.
You see what moved Jesus not to send them empty
तुमी जर कित्यान जेजूक लायले तिंका रित्या पडन धाडना जावपाक
is because they stuck on with Jesus even though they were hungry.
कित्याक ती जेजूक चिटकून आसले तिंका भूक लागोन लेगीत.
Even though they were hungry, they still stuck on with Jesus.
ते भुकेलेले आसून लेगीत ते जेजूक चिटकून आसलेले.
You see, when you are in need
जेन तू गरजेन आसता
and yet you keep saying, no, I'm going to stick with
आनी
Jesus.
तरी तू म्हणटा की हांव जेजूक चिटकून रावतलो.
Maybe 1 month you've come,
जायत गर 1 म्हयनो तू
2
येयला,
months you have come,
2 म्हयने येयला,
3 months you have
3
come,
म्हयने येयला,
and you're still that hungry.
आनी तरी तू भुकेलो
But you're
आसा.
still saying, no, I'm not going to give up on Jesus. I know He will work it for me.
तरी तू म्हणटा की ना हांव सोडून दिवची ना कित्याक हांव जाण तो करतलोच म्हणून म्हाजे पासत.
As you press on with Jesus,
जस ती धरून रावता जेजू सांग आतां.
He's moved to work on your life.
तेका लायता ते तुज्या जिवितान काम करपाक.
When you press on with
जेन तू
Jesus,
जेजू सांगा ते तीर धरून
He's
चलता.
moved to work in your life.
तेका लायता ते तुज्या जिवितान
The
काम
people
करपाक.
were 3 continuous days with Jesus.
लोक 3 दीस शेगीत जेजू सांगत आसलेले.
And another thing about that land, about Israel,
आनी एक वस्त पळोवंक गेले इस्रायला विशीं.
I don't know if it was summer. Let's see, okay. He made them sit down on the ground. If you see another portion of scripture, he says he makes them sit on the grass. Let's go to Matthew 14, verse 19.
लोकांक ताणें तोंडाचेर जेवणाक बसूंक लायले 5 उणे आनी 2
Okay, he says, and he ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass.
आनी लोकांक तेणे तोंडाचेर बसोंक लायले.
Grass.
तोंड.
Now, in Matthew chapter 15, verse 35.
आतां मॅथ्यू शुभर्तान 15व्या विस्वरान 35वी वय.
तेन्ना लोकांक दोनीर बसूंक लावन
Zomnir bosong. That means from grass, now it has become ground.
तोंडांसान आतां जमनीर बसयलेले आसा.
There's a difference, right?
फरक आसता न्हू.
Grass and ground.
तोंड आनी
That
जमीन.
means when he made them sit on the grass, that time the weather was pleasant.
म्हणजे जेन्ना तेणे तांकां तोंडार बसोंक लायलें तेन्ना वातावरण बरें आसलेलें.
And by the time it became ground, that means the heat had dried up everything that was there.
जेन्ना जमनीर बसोंक लायलेलें आसा म्हटल्यार सगळें सुकोन गेलेले ते तोंड जे आसलेले ते.
Summers in Israel is hot.
गरमी पळोवंक गेले गरमेचो तेंप इस्रायलान पळोवंक गेले खूब गरम.
These people in the heat of the summer,
ह्या लोकांक पळोवंक गेले वतान ते
in the heat of the day,
वतान ते दोनपारचे
3 continuous days, they still kept on with Jesus.
3 शेगीत दीस जेजू सांगाताच आसलेले.
That's why Jesus says, I cannot send them empty.
त्या खातीर जेजू म्हणटा की म्हाज्यान जायना तांकां भुकेलेले धाडपाक.
I cannot send them hungry.
म्हाज्यान जायना तांकां भुकेलेले धाडपाक.
Would Jesus look at you and say the same
आज
about
जेजू
you?
तुका पळोवन म्हणटलो काय तेच?
When Jesus looks at you, would he say, people are not leaving me?
जेन जेजू तुका पळोवन म्हणटलो काय असो की हे लोक म्हाका सोडेच ना.
1 year?
1 वर्ष
2
जालें,
years?
2 वर्ष जालीं,
3 years?
3 वर्ष जालीं.
Even though I'm not giving them what they want, yet they are not leaving me.
तांकां जाय ते दिना जावन लेगीत ते तरी म्हाका सोडिना.
Now I'll give them double for the trouble.
आतां हांव तांकां दोबरादान दितलो तेंचे त्रासा
I'll give
पासून.
them double now.
दोबरादान दितलो
You see,
हांव आतां.
God moves with compassion.
देवा खरेंच आमची काकूट दिसून येता.
When He sees that you are persevering, you're continuing your walk with Him, even when you are in your own troubles, yet you still love Him.
जेन तो पळयता की तूं धीरान पासियेसून चलत आसा तेजे सांग तुजे कश्टान आनी त्रासान आसून लेगीत तेन्ना तेका तुजी काकूट दिसूंक लागता.
Would He say that about you?
तो तुज्या विशीं तशें म्हणटलो काय?
Or would He look at you and say, no, तो एक दीस बरो आहा, दुसरो दीस भावता, बरो आहा आसता भावता, बरो आसता भावता. आयज जेजू फाल्यां ना, आयज जेजू फाल्यां ना. You know how many of us oscillate, right?
किती जणांनी
Our
शिकवलं
faith keeps shaking and shaking and shaking, but these people stuck on.
आमचो बावर आलोत आसता पूण हे लोक जेजूक चिटकोन रावलेले.
Another man stuck on with Jesus. Do
आणि
you
एक
know?
दादलो पोंगे जेजूक चिटकोन रावलो. तुम्ही जाणा कोण?
His daughter was dying at home.
तेजी धू मोरताली घरा कडेन.
His daughter was dying at home.
तेजी धू मोरताली मोन्नाची देगेर आसली
He
घरा कडेन.
left her.
तो तिका सोडून येयलो.
He said, whatever happens to you, I don't care. I need Jesus here.
तेणें म्हटलें कितें तुका जाता म्हाका परवा ना, म्हाका जेजू जाय हांगासर.
He left his dying daughter at home
तेणें आपले मोन्नाची देगेर आसली धुवेक सांडून येयलो
and
तो.
came to where Jesus
आनी येयलो
was.
जेजू आसलोलो थंयसर.
And do you know what happened in that story?
आनी तुमी जाण कितें जालें तें काणयेन?
In that story, Jesus is walking with him to come to his house.
त्या काणयेन पळोवंक गेल्यार जेजू ते सांगाता चलता तेच्या घरा येवपाक.
How many of us know when there is somebody serious at home, you want to reach as soon as possible?
कितली जाणां आमी जाणा की जेन्ना कोण घरा कडेन गंभीर आसता तेन्ना आमी जाता तितके बेगीन पावंक सोदता.
As much as possible, you will keep blowing the horn. Pang, 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 pang. Are side raw re, was re, ut re. If you could fly, you would even fly.
उडोवंक जाता जाल्यार उडोवन पासून वयतलो आसलेलो.
But Jairus, he's stuck there.
पूण जायरस चिटकून रावलो
There's
जेजू.
a crowd that's stopping Jesus.
गर्दी आसा ती जेजू काडायता.
Not only a crowd, that bleeding woman is stopping Jesus.
गर्दी सोड पूण ती रक्तपात जाल्ली वस्तू ती जेजूक थारायता.
Jairus could have told Jesus, okay, Jesus, bye, bye, I'm going. Maji du morpa ha. My daughter is dying, Jesus, you don't care. Bye, tata.
जेजू तुका पळयलें म्हणजे धू मरपाचें आसा, चल वयता हांव.
But Jairus stuck on with
पूण
Jesus.
जायरस जेजूक चिटकून रावलो.
He's stuck on.
तो चिटकून रावलो.
At the end, what happened?
आनी शेवटाक कितें जालें?
Jesus enters Jairus' house and raises his dead daughter back to life.
जेजू जायरसाच्या घरा भितर सरता आनी तेजी मेलेली धुवेक तो परतो चितो करता.
Why?
कित्याक?
Because Jairus held on to Jesus.
कित्याक जायरस जेजू गोड धरून रावलेलो.
Today, Jesus will move with compassion for some of you here.
आज जेजूक थोडे जाणांची काकूत दिसतली तुमच्या मदेगात.
He will move with compassion for somebody here.
तेका खरेंच काकूत दिसतली तुजी.
Somebody in this place, Jesus is going to say, I'm going to give you double for your trouble.
कोणाक पुणी जेजू आयज म्हणटलो की हांव तुका दोबरादन दितलो तुजे कश्टा पासत.
Somebody in this place that Jesus is going to say, I'm going to make you soar high.
कोणाक पुणी असो जेजू म्हणटलो की हांव तुका वयर उबारतलो.
Somebody in this place that Jesus is going to say, I'm going to make you fly.
कोणाक पुणी जेजू असो म्हणटलो की हांव तुका उडोवंक लायतलो.
Somebody in this place that Jesus is going to say, your time to rise and shine has come.
कोणाक पुणी असो जेजू म्हणटलो की तुजो वेळ येयलो आसा वयर सरून चकचकपाचो.
Would it be you?
तो तूं आसतलो काय?
Would it be you?
तूं आसतलो काय?
Would it be you who's
तूं
persevering with Jesus?
जे संगते धीर धरून चलत आसा.
Maybe you've been walking and maybe right now you're feeling tired of
जाय
that
तू
walk.
चलत आसा आनी तूं खरेंच थकलेलें आसा चलन करून.
You feel your situation is pulling you down, but yet you have not let go of the hand of Jesus.
तुका दिसता तुजी परिस्थिती सकयलो टावन पूण तरी तुवें जेजूचो हात सोडूंक ना.
You feel the things around you is depressing you, but you've not let go of that hand of Jesus.
तुका दिसता की तुजी परिस्थिती तूं डिप्रेशन घालता पूण तरी तुवें जेजूचो हात सोडून दिवंक ना.
Your situation seems to be finished before you, but you are not letting go of Jesus.
तुजी परिस्थिती तुका काबार करता तूं कशी दिसता पूण तरी तुवें जेजूक सांडूंक ना अजून लेगीत.
If it is you,
तूं तर जाल्यार तो.
I believe Jesus is speaking to you today.
हांव सतमंदी जेजू तुजे कडेन उलयता.
And he's saying, your time has come.
आनी तो म्हणटा तुजो वेळ येयलो आसा.
Your time to shine has come.
तुजो वेळ येयलो आसा चकचकपाचो.
You know, when you're in your darkest moment,
जेन्ना तूं तुज्या सगळ्याकीन काळखाच्या वेळार आसता.
His light is going to shine the brightest.
तेजो उजवाड आसा तो सामको परचोटान चकचकतलो.
Let me say that again.
परतो सांगूंक सोदता हांव.
When you're in your darkest moment,
जेन्ना तूं सगळ्याच्या काळखाच्या चड वेळार आसता.
when you feel there is nothing more, no more hope,
जेन्ना तुका दिसता आनीक भरवसच ना म्हणून.
it is at that moment He will shine brighter.
त्या वेळार तो सगळ्याच्याकून चड चकचकतलो.
All you need to do is don't let go of His hand.
सगळें तुवें करूंक जाय तेजो हात सोडूंक जायना.
Don't let go of Jesus.
सोडून दिनाका जेजूक.